Hello and welcome to A Celtic World, the YouTube channel and podcast made by Celtic fans all over this great big world, for Celtic fans all over this great big world. Hoping my microphone isn't too loud as we kick off today. Let us know if anyone's volumes need adjusting. Here on A Celtic World, from Bathgate to Bangkok, Stenhousemuir to Sydney, wherever you happen to be watching from. You're part of A Celtic World. Seem to be struggling to get words out today. I'm not sure why that is. Stephen, are you struggling?
Nah, not so far. I've had plenty of words out today. Had an early start this morning. I didn't watch the game live. I got up at 5 a.m. this morning, put it on delay without knowing the score. Got a big fright because when you go on to be in to watch the video, it tells you the length of the video, but not the score. So I noticed the video was like 3 hours long. I thought, for Christ's sake, what the hell's happened here? I can only assume it's gone to extra time and penalties or something. So I watched the whole game expecting the worst. So I was pleasantly surprised with how it went. So it's been a long day though, but happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. And how are things in Bangkok, David?
Yeah, all good. Watched the game last night at the world famous Bangkok Celtic Supporters Club. Yeah, good result, good game. So, hail, folks.
Stephen, I'll turn your microphone up.
Yeah, okay.
If that's okay with you. All right, so what are we talking about? Well, we'll talk about the game, of course. We'll go through some stills. But let's talk about around the game, first of all, fan action, and I'll throw this one over to David to take it away. What did you think of this particular image, David?
Yeah, it was a fairly sad indictment in how bad we've been in the last 10 years. The various, the quality of the opposition who've managed to put us out of the Champions League. There's no one there that realistically we should have had much trouble, beating. A couple of maybe not so bad teams, but really Art Media, Maribor, etc., fairly embarrassing stuff. And not a good show.
Do you think that was an effective part of the messaging from the fan action group?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it was, it shows you this idea of, if we'd invested even a tenth of the money we've had available, in various years, we would have had enough to go over the line. I mean, look at, Tinekti, the difference he could have had, against the mob from Almaty. I can't believe we wouldn't have been in a much stronger position with him available. And that was only £5 million out of a 75 million kitty.
Yeah, what might have been. Stephen, well, let's test your mic as you give us your response to this.
Yeah, well, I think just on the previous display that you were talking about there, I think the good thing about that one is it sort of addressed the narrative that the board are trying to push, that this was just a one-off bad window. And that seems to have been the message that's come out through the annual statement. We got it wrong, we're sorry, we won't do it again. And this is just sums up that this is a systemic issue at the club and has been for Peter Lawwell's entire time there. I think the statistics are 9 out of 13 qualifying attempts we've failed in. And it's just absolutely not acceptable. So it was good to see them putting that to bed. And yeah, the only thing that seems to work with these guys is embarrassing them. And I think the sign's been held up probably just about achieved that. You saw Nicholson and Mackay staring into the laps collectively while these signs were being showed up in a very embarrassed fashion. So and they couldn't even look look at the fans directly. So clearly it is affecting them. And yeah, I thought it was a good display. A lot of work went into it. A lot of guys turned up early at the game, handing out these things, and it just shows you how sort of solid the movement is, and it's only going to get bigger.
Comedy, isn't it? The way they're both studiously playing Wordle or something there. As the message goes out.
A pair of jokers. They really are.
Very funny. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good, having that list of appalling results down the years for the reasons you just stated there, actually. Very eloquently, Stephen. All right, so shall we get on with the game? What were the circumstances? Sure. Oh, you watched it. You've just told us where you've watched it. I watched it on my phone. Apparently Paul watches all the games on his phone, which I find hard to believe. But I watched it on my phone just because, well, for a variety of reasons. And I found it incredibly difficult to watch. And I'm not sure whether it was on my phone or, because of how it looked, the big shadows and everything. It was just an awkward watch, wasn't it? No matter what size of screen you were on, was it not, David?
Well, I suppose in Scotland they're not used to seeing the sunshine, but yeah, I must admit I hadn't picked up on the shadows until I saw the clip 10 minutes before the show started. But yeah, it's better that than the pouring rain that they're probably used to this time of year.
You're probably a big fan of the Shadows, David. You have all their albums.
You're calling me a Cliff Richard fan. Thank you very much. I suppose I have been called worse, but not much.
I mean, I remember listening to the Shadows when I was very young. We had a cassette knocking about the house. Me and my brother would listen to it. They were better without Cliff Richard, weren't they, Stephen? I see you nodding.
Yeah, I did. I listened to a bit of the Shadows as well when I was a wee boy. I remember the song that sticks with me, and I don't even know the name of it, but it's been repurposed as the Sam song now. So that I remember buying that record. And
what, like the ringtone or something?
No, you know the Sam. You know the song, the Sam song, Sam Missiles in the Sky. You must have heard it. Have you never heard that song they sing, the Rebel song?
Okay. Oh, I didn't know what you were talking about there. I thought you were talking about phones.
Yeah. No. And I had the single of the Shadows performing that song many, many years ago. I mean, I was probably about 10 years old or something when that was out. But a sort of a prediction of things to come, maybe. And just talking as well about the viewing experience there. One thing I noticed was the Green Brigade's flags were really getting in the way of the cameras, and the cameraman had to do some really sterling work to sort of. You can see him jumping away to an alternative camera view every 2 minutes when one of the big flags, either the Palestine flag or the tricolour or something, gets, because they were on massive big poles. And that was the thing I noticed about the viewing experience. But yeah, Firhill's not a great place to go and watch football. Yeah, it wasn't a great viewing experience.
Francis Begbie goes there, apparently, wasn't he? Did you see that?
Yeah, there was a piece in the papers about that, about him being a Partick Thistle fan. I thought people just pretended to be Partick Thistle fans for the sake of their career, but apparently not.
Very good. All right, well, let's look at the team lineup now. There was some debate about the team lineup, David, whether it was what we wanted to see. Stephen, then, having watched the game, was able to have the benefit of hindsight and say, you were all gurning about the team lineup. Well, what turned out to be not too shabby. But was this not an opportunity to play some other players and see what else is going on in the squad?
Yeah, sadly on Thursday I kind of predicted this, that Rodgers probably wouldn't change too much from last week. I was really surprised that he wasn't giving Balikwisha another shout, but of course, with him and Tunekti both being left side, I can see why Yang did get started, but it was so disappointing, that McGregor, Hatate, Nigren, that you would have thought at least some of them, Bernardo especially, or Macau and Engels, we had so many opportunities to try something different. And then for Tierney to play from the start and to get 90 minutes was just baffling. By all accounts, the pitch was a nightmare to play in with the grass being so long, etc. So he was just making a rod for his own back, I think. And like some Murray could have started. I mean, there were so many different options we could have tried there. But yeah, sadly, I did predict on Thursday that they probably wouldn't change much. But I wasn't too happy to be proved right.
Well, Stephen's about to jump in and tell us why Brendan, who can do no wrong in his eyes, was perfectly right in picking that team.
Well, I mean, he was perfectly right. We won 4-0. But, just going back to the daily point, I mean, I can understand, why people would probably want to see things freshened up a bit. I mean, the midfield's not exactly been firing in all cylinders, but Brendan essentially alluded to this in the press conference the other day there, where he said the team were just trying to get into, we're just starting to get into a rhythm, and they needed more. It's new players have come in. A lot of players are playing different positions, and he needed them to start getting that rhythm. So I think that's why he sort of stuck with the previous formations. And that, and the fact that you can't drop Tuneki. He was excellent against Kilmarnock, so he was straight back in there. He needs to get minutes in the Acho's legs because he's not played much either. So that's why he started him. And he also mentioned that Balikwisha wasn't a right-sided player, and that was, he'd only played about there last week to see how he got on, and obviously didn't play that well on the right-hand side. So I wasn't surprised to see him back on the bench. Unfortunately, we don't have any real alternatives to Yang or Forrest on the right-hand side now. And that's going to be a problem because we're going to see a lot of Yang. I think probably Forrest will start the game during the week. We might talk about that later, and I think that's probably why he didn't feature at all today, even off the bench. But I think we're going to see a lot of Yang in the weeks to come. I would have liked to have seen Engels back in the team. I don't think Engels has done anything particularly wrong. In the minutes he's had on, and I think he deserved a little bit of a shot. So if I had one criticism, I'd probably took Nigren out the team and put Engels in there. But then again, Nigren goes on and has 2 assists in the game. So you can't really say he got that wrong. But I wasn't surprised at the way the team was set out.
Yeah, the midfield did kind of wake up a bit in this game, start showing some signs of life, which is, I guess, what you want going into the big Europa League game coming up. But let's fire through some of these moments in the game. This was the first moment of note. Tunekti to Nigren to Yang at the back post. That's what happened. There's Nigren's about to sort of stand that up at the far post. There's Yang. That's where he is at this point. But then he obviously makes it, nuts it into the sound of silence, David.
Yeah, I must admit, I hadn't realised it was a goal. Yang wasn't cheering, didn't seem too enamoured. And then it was like, and then you saw him picking the goalie picking the ball out of the net. It was a good cross, good passing, good movement, and Yang, got himself in the right place. So well done him. Just I found it a little bit surprising, the lack of emotion, sort of celebrating the goal. But yeah, good.
Inscrutable South Korean that he is. Same files, different jobby FC says I think the manager got the selection and sub spot on. That's Brown Warrior. And I never realised that Brown Warrior's name had anything fecal about it, but that seems to be his chosen specialised subject. All right, let's carry on then, Stephen. What happened next? Hatate to Nekti, and then Hatate plays the through ball. This was the one that drew a good save from the keeper. Went behind for a corner, if you recall.
Yeah, I think it was a corner that led to the goal as well. So it was excellent play again from Tunekti, if I can get that one correct. Yeah, he was excellent all day again.
There's a little help for you.
There you go, Tunekti. So yeah, he was brilliant again. Another man of the match performance. That's 2 in a row. And he looks on a different planet to any of our other wide players at the moment, and everything he does seems to be turning out well, and that was good. That was one he turned in on his right foot and had a crack at goal. Keeper saved it, and it's gone for a corner, which thankfully we scored from.
Here's Monty helping us out with the phonetics. What I said previously to us was like, imagine a t-shirt with 2 necks, like a conjoined twin might have to wear something like that, a 2-neck tee, because like people are getting it wrong all over the place. It's unbelievable. I thought it was quite an easy name, but I was on the school run this morning and I actually made notes about this. Can you believe it? Yeah, I was on the school run and I haven't dropped my son off. I'm driving home, so put on a bit of YouTube to listen to it on the way back. Ryan 118 going on about Tunetki, and also Nacho. So I skipped forward, and it was Celtic Fans TV talking about Tunetki as well. And recently Paul had someone all talking about Balakshiwa. So I skipped forward. I couldn't handle it. I was like, just give me somebody who can say this name correctly. And then on Axum, Sean from the Celtic Down Under was on, and he calls him Tunetski. Like as if being Tunisian Norwegian wasn't complicated enough. You have to chuck in a bit of Polish. So anyway, Tunekti.
Can I just tell you my usual shite joke?
Please.
You're talking about the guy with 2 necks. What do you call the Glaswegian Siamese twins? Urwally.
Right. Okay.
Come on, that's funny. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
And there's another easy one to remember for you.
Yeah.
I'm just going to gloss over that quite quickly. Ian Nacho, Stephen. Ian Nacho. Can't go wrong. Anyway, that's enough of the pronunciation balls. Nobody really likes to hear it, and I realise it's my problem. I do have a problem. And the first step to solving a problem is to recognise you have it, Stephen. So I hold my hands up.
I think all the mispronunciations, I'd have been worried that you driving a car. You would have ran the car off the road in a fit of absolute incandescent rage.
Yeah, well, I just ended up listening to music. I couldn't take it. It's too annoying. That's the truth. All right, and then, scale scoring from this angle was pretty interesting. What about this free kick? I mean, was this straight off the training field, David, do you think? Looked like it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a bit bizarre that I don't like short corners, but this one worked for a change. Scale's done well to get enough power on it from the angle he was at. Oh, come on, Monty, you've heard worse from me, for God's sake. So I've got far worse. I'm here all week, folks. But no, I thought that Scales did quite well to get his head to it. I felt a bit bad for the Partick Thistle goalkeeper because he had just scored. He had just, it was a cracking save he had made for going to the corner, but then he kind of let himself down a wee bit with that one. But it was
such an unusual angle though, and it went right in the top corner.
Yep. But yeah, the goalkeeper made a bit of a mess of it.
Stephen, is that fair? Or was it just very unusual and a great header?
No, I think the keeper was badly at fault. I think he sort of he was a bit worried about clattering into the post, to be honest with you, which
That's what the
isn't great for a
commentator said,
goalkeeper. And you've got to just take the whacking and keep the ball out the net at all costs. But I think just on what Mahesh is saying, I'm just going to say the same thing. They worked these sort of corners all day, and I think they were addressing the fact that Nygren's corners have been pretty shite up to now. So to get a better angle on it and to get a better whip and delivery on it, they've sent Hatate over there to take the corner, and he can then take it from a different angle. And that was a good header from Scales. I mean, you got to take your hat off to Scales for that one there. He's made a great near post run. And he's got away from his defender and he's directed the ball on target. But, I still think the keeper should have saved it.
Yeah, I sort of agree with the comments here. I think it was just quality from start to finish from us there, that goal. And the keeper got caught out because, he was so far in front of, as he says here, Chris D, so far beyond the front post, keeper wasn't fearful for it. And then the quality of the header took him by surprise. So I guess he does have to take some of the blame, but, you can be beaten by quality. That's what I say. Here's another angle of the ball going in. Like, look where Scales is by the time the ball crosses the line. That's really unusual. Scales is good at those, though. Often pops up with brilliant headers. Okay, this was lovely. On 40 minutes, a fluid move. CCV to Iheanacho, who links the play well. If you remember this, David. And then he releases Nygren, who plays the ball way in front of Yang down the line there to chase onto it. Yang gets to it, puts the ball into Hatate, who puts it just wide. But that was encouraging, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good movement. Certainly, I thought that Iheanacho, his hold-up play was pretty good there. And then when it comes to the goal later on that we'll see, his first touch was decent. I think he's obviously got to work in his fitness, but yeah, I think there's definitely a player there, it was a good setup from him that got the goal, got the move going.
Anything to say about that move, Stephen? It was the shape of things to come, wasn't it? Flowing counter-attack.
Yeah, it was really good, and I think Iheanacho has just showed exactly why Brendan Rodgers likes him so much. He's a sort of archetypal Brendan Rodgers striker. He likes his strikers to drop deep and link the play, play a lot of the game with back to goal. Very similar to the likes of Moussa Dembele when he first came to the club. So I was very happy with Iheanacho. As David says correctly, he still lacks a bit of match fitness, I think. But his first touch is excellent. He takes the ball in well and brings other players into it, as we saw later on. But very, very promising from him. And I think, as the weeks go on, he's going to get better and better.
Yeah, what we've seen from him so far is he can do all the things that Ida couldn't do. We don't know if he can do the things that Ida could do yet. We haven't seen that, but we've seen him do what Ida couldn't. He's got that touch and he does link the play well. Someone mentioning here, San Fran Celtic, Hatate was immense. This next still is him. This is just the ball comes out of defence to Hatate, who's on the front foot. He's looking for the killer pass, which we love to see. He plays it out to Nekti there on the wing. And what did this result in, Stephen?
Yeah, well, Nekti took the ball all the way into the box. And you can see from the previous picture there that he received the ball just inside his own half. And he took it all the way to the box. And that's what I love about him. He's just so positive in everything he does. And there's no thought about him checking back and bringing others into the play. He just wants to drive at the defence all the time. And he's got them in the back foot. he's played a really nice ball into Iheanacho, who's an absolutely delicious little flick round the corner, back to Tenecti, and a wonderful finish. So that was definitely the pick of the goals, and very, very well deserved for Tenecti, and he was well worth his goal.
He was, and he loved it, didn't he? Getting off the mark. Some people questioning there in the comments whether Hatate was immense. I thought Hatate showed flashes of the Hatate we love, which we haven't seen for a long time. And hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Right, David?
Yeah, for sure. I know I'm usually Hatate's biggest fan on here. He's been disappointing for a few weeks now, but hopefully that's him back to towards his best. Looking forward, looking up, always trying to play forward passes. I thought whether or not it was the fact that the grass was so long, he was able to sort of dink his passes. But no, I thought he played well yesterday. He was up for it. He was running. He was looking up the way he was, instead of the horseshoe of death that we've been struggling with for the last month or so. So it was good to see him back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with same flies, different jobby. Did I say files earlier? Same flies, different jobby. Makes more sense. Yeah, no, he's been garbage for a long time. I run out of patience with him before everybody else does, usually. Go ahead.
I thought it was a bit of a mixed bag from him, to be honest with you. I thought he ended up playing very well. I thought he had a really good second half, but I think at the start of the game, he was back to sort of his old tricks, giving the ball away an awful lot, and he's so bad for that. Just try, and I guess it comes with the territory with him trying difficult passes, and gives the ball away. But he came onto a game, and I think if he can replicate the form he's shown in the second half in the weeks to come, because we really need him. We really need him to be on form. I think the lack of form from Hatate's been the big problem in our midfield. I think it's made Negrin look bad. It's made McGregor look a bit cumbersome as well. Didn't think McGregor had a great game yesterday either. But I think it all comes down to the fact that we're relying on Hatate for a bit of creativity in the middle of the park, and if he's off it, and then there's really no one. Tenecti will bring creativity on the wings, and that will take a bit of the burden from Hatate. But he really needs to be on his game for us, because there's really no one else.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Here is Iheanacho having a shot, having a pop that drew a nice save from the goalkeeper. David, do you recall that?
Yeah. As I say, overall, I thought Iheanacho had a good game. I think he was unlucky not to score. Hold up play was kind of what you'd expect. So a couple of weeks a bit closer to match fitness, and I think we'll see a real good player. The one thing I was kind of surprised about was that there was only Maeda on the bench. So I'm not quite sure why. If something had happened with Iheanacho, he's only played one game, and then having Maeda is the only option as a striker. I don't know what's happened to Kenny and Shin. For none of them to even make it onto the squad, I thought was quite surprising. But no, it was good to see Iheanacho doing well.
And one guy who hasn't done a huge amount yet, but we hold out hope for. At least he got stuck in here, and that was your friend Balikwisha, Stephen.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was okay. I had a couple of good flashes when he came on, and this was really good determination from him to get in there and send McCowan through and goal for the fourth goal. He had a couple of other moves as well when he came off the bench, and I thought he looked a lot brighter than he did last week. I think if he's playing in his natural position, you have to you have to allow him to play in his natural position before you really judge him too harshly. And he looked a lot brighter. He's a different player from Tinecti, and I think we need to bear that in mind, which is good, because he'll bring a bit of variety to the squad. He'll bring something different to the role, and cause defenders another problem. But it's far too early to be making any definitive judgment on him. And to be honest with you, it's too early to make any positive definitive judgment on Tinecti. You need to see 4 or 5 games of that. And the same with Iheanacho. We need to see 4 or 5 games in a row of good form before we can start breaking out the champagne and think we've got a real player on our hands here. And I think I've got high hopes for Ballyquisher. The only problem that we'll have is that we're heavily loaded with left-sided players, and they can't all play. So game time is going to be limited for them. But yeah, I think there's definitely a player there.
Sorry. The defender that he caught on the hop here, David, is none other than Macbeth. That's his name. So he must have been thinking, what bloody man is that when he was tackled like that? But fair is foul and foul is fair, David, wouldn't you say?
Oh God, I didn't have enough time to practice another shite joke. So I needed some something for you to be a bit more gentle with me to get my I don't need to be explaining jokes twice to Monty. That one went over my head. I saw that you're on Thursday you had Ocean Smith, was it? That
yeah.
And I don't think he made it off the bench for Partick Thistle.
No, he did. He came off the bench. He didn't start. Yeah. But he should have been on. The commentator was like that he should have been starting. So yeah, it wasn't a very good pick, was it, for player to watch sitting on the bench? Not really. Okay, so anyway, this was the tackle, and then McCowan runs onto it and finishes pretty smartly into the far post. And then did you see him giving it that to the fans? David, wonder what they were saying to him there.
Yeah, probably. Thanks very much, 420. I'm not sure what Shakespeare guy you're thinking of. Yeah. No,
that's what I thought. I thought David would be a Shakespeare guy. I'm dropping little acorns for you.
Yeah, exactly. Started off me being a Cliff Richard fan, and now I'm a Shakespeare geek. Thanks, folks. I love you too. No, I think McCowan did what McCowan does. He's not afraid to take a shot. He was probably getting a bit of stick from the Jags fans, and he took the opportunity to get it right up them. So fair play to him.
Yeah, they weren't obviously too full of the milk of human kindness. There's another Macbeth quote for you. That's where that comes from. Just before we move on, I just want to make this point about Tinecti. It's the way he cuts in, the way he sort of accentuates the drop of the shoulder, and he cuts in really quickly, and he gets a lot of distance when he cuts in, doesn't he? He's so good at cutting in, that if he sends players for I don't know how to finish that sentence. What does he send players for, Stephen?
He sends players for the pies. As the saying goes.
Pies. Wasn't expecting that.
I mean, he's great. I mean, we've spoke about this many times about what you want from your winger, and you want your winger to put a bit of doubt into the defender's mind. We've been the last couple of seasons, we've had guys like Palmer and Haksabanovic before him who are always looking to come inside and have a shot with no ability to go outside. But with Tinecti, he's comfortable going either way. He's comfortable coming inside and having a crack on his right foot, or he's comfortable going outside on his left. And a couple of times he skinned the guy on the outside. So the defenders really don't know what to do with him. They don't know whether to show him in or show him up the line. And that's the kind of doubt you want in the defender's mind. And I think that's what makes him such a dangerous player for us. And he does look as if, a lot of the reports that we read when we first signed him from Scandinavian football journalists, I can scarcely believe reading back some of them now. They were saying he had no end product, and he struggled a bit with that aspect of the game, but he certainly looks as if he's got an end product on him to me. His crosses are all put into dangerous areas, and he always looks to pick out a man on the edge of the box if he comes inside. So he just looks a really good player, and everything, as Brendan mentioned post match, he's everything a Celtic winger should be, and just an excellent player.
Yeah, you're right, but we can't get too far ahead of ourselves, because it wasn't long ago that Palma arrived and looked like an exciting prospect in his earliest games, only to drop off considerably. But you'd like to think you've seen more than enough evidence that Chinecti is not another Palma, that's for sure. Tell me that's the case, David.
Yeah, I think there's the, when you look at him, the word Gallus kind of springs to mind. He's got that sort of Scottish confidence, and it's all about, get the ball to me and I'll do something with it. So, it's fair play to him. It's been as Stephen said, we don't want to be, saying he's the next Messi after 2 games, but I don't think he could have started, with much more promise than he has done. So long may it continue.
Absolutely. What did you notice about Bernardo, Stephen, that you thought was a bit unusual?
Well, his haircut is really bad for a start. I mean, I don't know if that's what you're alluding to, but his haircut's dreadful. I mean, I'm not going to stand here and say I'm the the aficionado on modern hairstyling, but I thought it's just awful, isn't it? I mean, my God.
What does it put you in mind of?
I don't know. I'm not too sure. There was a character. I don't know if you ever read the Viz comic, and there was a character in there called Mr. Logic, and he had a very similar haircut to that. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, he had that.
Yeah, he did. That is illogical. So that's what it put me in mind of. But it's just, he's a good-looking boy, but I'm not feeling the haircut.
Well, Monty is along the right lines here of what I was thinking, but it wasn't Baldrick. It was Blackadder season 1.
Yeah.
Short at the sides. It's the same idea as that. That's what I was thinking. Because Blackadder season 1, you remember this? Like Blackadder himself, Edmund was a complete tit in season 1. He was pathetic. He couldn't do anything right. And Baldrick was kind of the smarter one. And thankfully they changed that round in later seasons to Edmund Blackadder being smooth and cool and Baldrick being the fool. That was a good turnaround, wasn't it, David? They did well there after season 1.
Much, yeah. No, well, actually, yeah, because in season 1, Baldrick was the clever one.
That's what I'm saying.
But, I think that
this must be season 2 for you.
Yep. I'm having a mare today. No, I think Blackadder's probably the best British comedy pretty much ever. I think the sarcasm, the Captain Flashheart, and so many brilliant characters in it.
Yeah. So will it be left breasty dumpling or right breasty dumpling? Of course, it was always both breasty dumplings.
Yeah. You have women's legs. Yeah.
All right.
Tom Baker.
Yeah. We're getting distracted. Yeah, Bernardo, no game time. Oh, that's Paddy Lavery saying Rodgers has a cunning plan. Paddy sent me some images recently of his... he's got a flagpole in his back garden now, and he's flying the Celtic flag proudly from his back garden. I should have added that to the system. We could have all enjoyed Paddy's flag, because that's what they love in the north of Ireland, is a flag. There's not enough of those. But it is flying very proudly, as I say. All right, so what should we talk about? Let's talk about the Celtic Fans Collective a little bit. go back to that. You've seen that the move is sort of generating some sort of energy and organisation. It's fair to say, Stephen. And we have joined the Celtic fan media group on WhatsApp. It's good to be part of that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a very important movement, probably one of the most important fan collective movements since the 90s, because we need to be united in this, and we need to. The only way we're ever going to achieve anything is if everybody sticks together. And I think the way to do that is to keep all the different aspects of Celtic support on the same page. Like all the supporters associations, all the supporters clubs, all the fan media podcasts, and all the message board. And I think the Celtic Fans Collective is a really good way of doing that because as the weeks go past and the transfer window disappears into the distance, people will forget. Especially if we're winning games, which you have to think we're probably going to carry on and get on a bit of a winning run now, hopefully, and people will forget. But it's important that this is kept in the forefront of people's minds because we really do need change. And anybody who had a read at the Celtic's annual account statement, the need for change is absolutely gushing out. Of both the chairman's statement and the CEO's statement. So I think it's a great initiative, and I'm really, really happy to be a part of it. I know we're overseas, we're in a different hemisphere, but it'd be good to maybe join together with other overseas Celtic fans and work out what we can do as a collective in terms of maybe merchandise boycotts or Celtic TV boycotts or something like that. But it's great to be part of, and I think it's very important.
Yeah, like sack the board. Well, I don't like the sack the board wording, but some sort of message that could be shown in front of various landmarks all around the world.
Yeah,
that might be quite fun to do, wouldn't it? If you could have like Nicholson with his head crossed out in front of
maybe we could We could do a sack the board musical piece, Gav. Maybe that could be your homework for next week.
Imagine I did that, though, and I'm like, oh, yeah, here we go. And then all the other podcasts are like, oh, what? That's so naff. We're not putting our names to that. Get them out of the group. That's embarrassing.
That's the end of the movement.
Yeah, I could kill it stone dead. Not worth putting up with this shit. Let's just go back to underachieving.
It'll be a different type of movement, basically. Yeah, got you.
Sorry, I didn't hear that, David. Was that another quip?
That's okay. No, I was just talking about movements and me talking shite. Oh. So, yeah.
Is that Brown Warriors new username?
Yep, me talking shite. Yep.
The 9 clubs that have pumped us out of the qualifiers, that's the message. That needs repeated. That's the core issue. Yeah, absolutely. Now, there's a lot of... You see an increasing number of people sort of resisting it and saying, look, they have various complaints about the movement, to which there are good responses. And David, our friend David, KL David, has put together a little video to show how the main complaints that you hear can be addressed. So let's just watch a little bit of that, shall we? There you go, David. What did you think of that? Do you like those messages? Any of those jump out at you?
Yeah, I think the overall message is important. I think we're probably expecting the next few games for us to, well, maybe not in the Europa, but domestically we should be hopefully quite comfortable for the next few weeks. And it's important that we don't just let the fact that we're 9 points clear of the Huns, etc., to allow us to forget the nonsense that's been going on. So I think it's we need to keep going. And I think this collective is, it shows it's not just like a dozen angry people, internet warriors, etc. So it's, I think it's good to, let's keep this going. Win, lose or draw. Support the team, but sack the board.
Well, it's certainly very different, isn't it, from the complaints that are going on with the fan groups on the other side of the city. Stephen, have you seen their complaints? Obviously, they're not in a very good position in the league, are they? As this clip, speaking of comedy, this will tell you where they are. Do you recall this, Stephen?
Yeah, 11th. That's funny. Any Scotsman who lives overseas, this little clip will resonate deeply with them, because that's my life every day. When you're trying to, if you phone one of these voice automated phone lines, when it asks you, say in a few words what your phone call's about this morning, and your heart just sinks because you know you're going to be there all day trying to get the message across. But yeah, theirs is different from ours, because they just want their manager sacked, don't they? And that's really that's the beginning and end of it for them. I think maybe the CEO's in the filing line as well, but only because he appointed the manager. But we're looking for structural change, and the good news for us is I listened to an Axel show the other day there with David Lowe on it. And David Lowe, as most of us will know, was a big part of the Ferris McCann takeover back in the 90s, and David's a very well-known finance figure round about football, really, and Scottish business in general. So it's guys like that we need on board, because boycotts, fan group actions, and going into games late will only take us so far. But we need money. We need money men with ideas for how we can take back control of the club. And I think if you need it summed up, what we're up against, it was the comments last week by Willie Hockey, or Lord Hockey, as he's known now. And he was one of the guys that was very, very close with Fergus McCann back in the day. And he made his mark on the takeover as well. But now he's saying we should all be grateful for Dermot Desmond. And we should all be, praising Dermot for what he's did for the club and everything. But that's not the situation at all. And thankfully there's plenty of people, plenty of money men out there who would disagree with that entirely. So I think it's a good snapshot of what we're up against. This isn't going to be quick, and it's going to be a long term. I mean, the Rangers protest will fizzle out as soon as they sack your man, which probably will happen in the next few weeks. And that will just fizzle. Everything will come out. The new guy will come in, put his club tie on, and they'll all start doffing their caps again, as they do. But yeah, ours is an entirely different thing completely.
Did you see the images, David, of their fans outside the stadium protesting?
The ones where they had all the sharks.
Well, I don't know if all the sharks is a very accurate way of putting it. There's one or two sharks floating around, getting thrown about.
Yeah. I think that was supposedly they were trying to take the piss out of us for. They thought that we had a shark, one of our protests last year, and it was just some sort of gate or something that the guy was lifting, and somehow they thought that was hunters of sharks. There you go. Not like me to exaggerate.
Told you millions of times not to.
Exactly.
Stephen, can you shed any light on the Shark story?
Yeah, I think David's right. I think it goes back to the COVID season when the season was slipping away from us, and the board again were in the firing line for not doing anything about it. They left Neil Lennon in the post for far too long, and doubled down. And Dermot Desmond in particular was quite vocal in saying that he was doubling down and he wouldn't be lectured by the fans. And I think I think it was after a midweek game where we lost. I can't remember the actual game, but the team came back to the stadium after the game, and there was a big crowd of people waiting on them, and there was various things thrown at them. And one of the things was a bit of fencing, because that was the board's response back in the day. Was to put fencing up to keep us away from the stadium. That was their only answer.
Do Hun Sharks only have one tooth as well? Asks Monty. See, he is capable of some humour, that Monty. All right. On that note, let's have a little message along these lines.
Here in Denmark, we totally love Glasgow Celtic. Kasper is the latest Great Dane to grace the green and white dynamite. Everyone should click that subscribe button. It's easy and costs nothing. On the hoops.
On the hoops, indeed. All right, Stephen, so where do we go from here? What else shall we talk about? Well, 53 minutes. We're coming up on the hour. I wanted to mention something that Paul is doing, which is a run for charity. He's raising money for Can for Cancer, changing lives, ending cancer. Here's the link, perthwalk.canforcancer.au/Paul-Massey. If anyone's interested in that. Very worthwhile cause, of course. I saw you communicating, David, with him about it.
Yeah. I think cancer probably affects most of us. We all know someone who's struggled with it or passed away, whatever. So fair play. And I think Stephen, you did a charity run. Was it last year? You doing another one this year?
Yeah, I mean, I did a run a few weeks ago. I did the City to Surf here. I didn't do it for charity, but I probably should. Next one I do, I think I'll probably get on the charity bus again. But it's excellent cause that Paul's raising funds for there. I think so many families have been touched by cancer that it tugs a lot of heartstrings. And so if anybody can make a donation, I would encourage you to do so.
Yeah, both my parents had cancer. Paul's darling wife, Rish, also did, but has fully recovered, thankfully. They are the two of them out in Perth. And there's a bunch of the people who did the last event. There's Paul, in case you're trying to pick him out of the crowd. Yeah, so good luck to him on that. I should probably put a link in the show notes, which I'll do immediately after the show. So people who are watching this not live will be able to find it there, or indeed anyone can. So I will put that in there, and I'll have to obviously make a little donation myself. Someone has asked us to discuss the upcoming Red Star Belgrade game. I was going to try to pronounce that the way Hamish does, but I haven't practiced it. Can either of you two manage it?
Nah.
Don't even want to try. Stephen thought about it there. Servina Veg.
I hosted, when you were away a couple of weeks ago on your bender in Bangkok, as it were, and I hosted the show. I did have it was just after the Europa League draw, and I had a crack at it then. But I had to practice it. I must admit, and I haven't practiced it tonight, so I'm not gonna try it again.
Well, what do we think about that game? Are you in the San Fran Celtic boat? I know everyone was when we qualified for it, but once it's on? Are we going to take a sneak peek, maybe secretly, not admit it to each other?
Yeah, I mean,
the thing
you know,
is,
I
like,
watch you.
I think.
One at a time. David.
You go, David.
No, sorry. Yeah, no, thank you. No, I was just going to pick up on the point that Mahesh made in the chat about comparing us to Bruges, and if we had Mahesh is saying basically that their model's not sustainable, but I think Monty also argued quite rightly that if we'd done better in the Champions Leagues qualifications over the last several years, then it's very much sustainable. So we should have been in the Champions League instead of having to basically take the poor man's option of the Europa. But I wouldn't be getting up. I think it's 2:00 in the morning Bangkok time on Thursday morning. I'll not be giving it. Obviously I want us to win, but the pub won't be open for it, and I don't think I'll just wait till the morning to find out that we won 5-0.
Would a draw be an acceptable outcome, or do you literally, Stephen, not care and no interest?
Yeah, I mean, I find it hard to work up any interest at all in this game. To me, it feels just like a distraction at the moment from the league and the domestic stuff, which is probably a very short-sighted viewpoint, but that's just the way I feel at the moment. The interesting thing about the European competitions this year is there's standalone weeks for the Champions League and standalone weeks for the Europa League. And I watched the Champions League games last week, and it was a bit like an episode of Bullseye with Ted Rogers saying, "Look at what you could have won," and it was just really, really frustrating to see teams like Karabag.
Excuse me, point of order, Your Honour. Bullseye with Ted Rogers. Oh, you're mixing up your quiz shows there. Yeah, that's.
Oh no, yeah. No, it wasn't Ted Rogers. Who was the Bullseye host again?
Jim Bowen.
Jim Bowen. That's exactly. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Nothing in this game.
You get a point. Don't be so pedantic, for God's sake.
Can't let that go.
But yeah, it was frustrating. It was frustrating to watch, and I know Karabag went and had a win away at Benfica, and I watched the Kairat game as well. And they ended up getting pumped, but they had a few chances in their game as well. But it's just so frustrating being on the outside looking into that, and the Europa League feels very much like a runners-up prize. Look, if we go and have a couple of decent results, maybe
that'll all change.
The excitement will build. But I don't see us doing much over there. I think we're still too much of a work in progress at the moment. I think they're a decent team, especially at home. I think one of their historical heroes just passed away last week, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be a very emotional game for them. So they'll be right up for it. The fans are mental, and it's got a bit of a Celtic in Europe disaster written all over it. But hopefully Brendan can pull it out of the fire for us. But I'll probably watch it because the kickoff, it's a 5 a.m. kickoff here in Sydney, so it's not too bad for that point of view. So I'll probably watch it, but with no great passion, I have to say.
Well, here's the Royale with cheese of comments from tonight's show. San Fran Celtic, me pointing out that Ted Rogers boo-boo. All right.
What was the Ted Rogers? What was the Ted Rogers show? That was Dusty Bin, wasn't it?
3-2-1.
3-2-1. Yeah.
And who was the quiz show host whose daughter went out with, or maybe even married, your man from Thin Lizzy? That was the guy from Come On Down. Do you remember The Price is Right? What was his name?
Oh yeah, Leslie Crowther. Was it him?
Yeah, well done. Yeah, you've redeemed yourself. Just when I thought you couldn't get any dumber, you go and do something like that.
I can always
Totally
get
redeem yourself. All right, that's enough references, I think, tonight. Movie references all over the shop. Quiz shows. What else? Mispronunciations all across Celtic fan media. I think we've done our job. We're over the hour already, lads. So thanks everyone very much in the comments for all your crack. Yes, Leslie Crowther is confirmed. Well done. Let's put Red Star in the dusty bin. Let's leave it at that, John Clements. Let's put this episode in the dusty bin. Thanks everyone for participating. As always, it's been good fun. And we will see you on the next one. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail, guys.